All right, I guess we are live here, David. This is our first live chat on Fire Rain. For those that don't know me, I am Fire Rain President Quincy Emmons. And a little bit about Fire Rain, if you don't already know, is we were founded by firefighters with a concern to protect the environment and the firefighters using water additives. We're really excited to have David on here, and he's going to talk about. Just a second, we got a phone ringing here. Just a second.
Well, while Quincy stepped out of the room, I'll take over and introduce myself. My name is David Heineman. I'm the Chief Science Officer for Fire Rain. I've been with the company directly for just over 2 years now, but before that, I was a longtime supporter of Fire Rain, having set up multiple projects between Fire Rain and the research community at Queen's University, where I used to work.
Yeah, David, we're really lucky to have you on board here. So a little bit about my background is I've been a volunteer firefighter for almost 25 years. Most of the Fire Rain founders have been firefighters, and that's why we have a passion for creating a product that is truly safe for all the users and the communities that it's used in. Our flagship product is Fire Rain EcoGel that is 100% or certified 100% bio-based, which is plant-based materials. Which we are really excited about. We have many fire departments, or several fire departments using it in Ontario here, and we have a growing list of new customers every day. So we're really, really happy about that. What we're here today mostly to talk about is the PFAS and PFAS stories that have been in the news over the last few days. And we see the PFAS and PFOS in the firefighting foams mostly that we use, and that's been the bad stuff that we've been battling for years here with Fire Rain, and now it's starting to become more and more mainstream that the stuff is in almost everything. So I'll let Dr. David Hyman, PhD, talk more about what's in the makeups and stuff like that, and we'll throw it over to you, David. Thank you.
Certainly. So the news about PFAS, which is a group of compounds being in cosmetics, is not new, but it has certainly risen to the top of the current news cycles. So it's timely that we can sort of link that back to the broader picture of what PFAS are and the environmental implications or the health and safety implications of those products. So PFAS is a group of compounds. They're called per and polyfluoroalkyl substances, PFAS.
I'm glad you said it, not me.
Yeah, and I obviously stumbled too. So, the problems go way back. When these were first developed in the 1940s, they were thought to be inert because they didn't react with anything. I mean, it took some very special chemistry to even make them, but at the beginning they thought they wouldn't interact with anything, so therefore they wouldn't cause any problems at all. And over the years, the mounting evidence that these compounds cause lots of environmental and human health impacts has been growing. The problem with them is at one level, we don't even know how many of these compounds there are. I've seen numbers of 4,700 versions of these compounds. I've seen numbers up as high as 8,000. And there's probably only a handful that have been properly characterized as far as their human health impacts. And that's nothing to say about the environmental impacts. They're called forever chemicals for a reason. They're very, very hard to break down. The half-life for some of these in the human body is like 5 years. So as we are constantly exposed to them, they actually accumulate in our tissues and lead to some of the problems that have been shown to happen. These include various types of cancer, immune deficiencies, bowel inflammatory diseases, and a whole host of others. It's even to the point now where there are early indications that certain types of these PFAS are involved in the adverse outcomes for some population groups with the current COVID-19 crisis. So they have large impacts, and we're only really just beginning to figure out which ones cause what, and how bad the impacts are going to be long term. There was a noted scientist in this realm that called PFAS the PCBs of the 21st century. So I liken them to, the issues with PCBs or the issues with asbestos. The problem is that they're in just about everything, including cosmetics. And they're not reported to be part of many products. So the problem is you can't avoid them by, reading the product label. So there's a high level on what they're about. The main issue is that they're just very hard to degrade, and so when they're released, either in the waste from cosmetics or from fire foams, or leaching out of the waterproof sprays on your clothes, they're in the environment and they stay there, and then they recycle through the water cycle. So long-term impacts we're just beginning to figure out. And back to you, Quincy.
Yeah, I think in that article there, the CBC article that we're going to share with our followers, I believe her name was Miriam Diamond, and she I think it was her that said we should just stay away from some of the certain types of makeups because it's not listed in the ingredients anywhere, and that kind of is where we kind of, we understand that because we've seen it in the fire service for so long. Is the salesman has come in, and the company making the foam has come into the fire hall and talked to the fire chief and says it's biodegradable, it's safe. Unfortunately, there's a lot of nasty things that are biodegradable. I always joke that nuclear waste is biodegradable, but you got to give it a few hundred years or more.
200,000, yes.
Yeah, I know. So, like anything can be biodegradable. That doesn't mean it's safe. And that's kind of where we, where we got started with Fire Rain. I think a good something for our viewers that are interested to learn more would be to check out the movie Dark Waters with Mark Ruffalo. That is an excellent story and based on a true story, where they explain these PFAS and PFOS chemicals and what happened when they first started learning about it. I believe it was the early '80s, or was it the late '70s? In that
range, yeah.
It was a long time ago, now it's a long time ago, and but we're starting to learn more and more here in Canada. The U.S. is obviously years ahead of us. They're seeing a lot of this contamination down there, and then could be why it's showing up in areas with the makeup that they didn't expect to see it. Like, they're starting to look at fires and downstream from fires and stuff like that. Do you have anything else, David, you can add?
Well, it's one of those slowly percolating issues that hopefully, this article and this moment in the sun as far as news cycles will help educate everybody. Estimates are that 98.5% of all Canadians have it in their blood system, or in their in their bodies. It's being seen all the way up to the high Arctic. Some of the most pristine wilderness in the world, when you take soil samples, you find PFAS. So it's in the air, it travels by the ocean currents, it is everywhere. And as I said before, we're only just really beginning to understand what the long-term impacts of these will be. Something I'd like to sort of do a shout out for, as Quincy pointed out, for people that want to learn more. The great CBC radio show Quirks and Quarks had a 3-part series last fall on PFAS implications on human health. Where it's being found in Canada, And even then they were mentioning, that it is in cosmetics. So this is not new to the science community. It's just that, the current release of a very influential paper has raised the profile. But it's in, if you've got Teflon frying pans, it's there. If you use Scotchgard product to, waterproof your coats or your boots, it's probably in that still. It's in, most of the firefighting equipment. It's still in an awful lot of the firefighting foams that are out there, and certainly one of the reasons that Fire Rain exists is to try and develop as fast as possible as many products that are completely PFAS free as possible. I mean, we could get into the nitty gritty on the science, but we're hopefully giving a bit of information here that is useful. We don't certainly want to scare anybody, but it is a bit of buyer beware until I think policy and regulations in Canada change, so that these types of ingredients have to be listed on absolutely everything. Yeah. So that's certainly something that we would like to push for as well.
And I think you're going to see it there, that CBC link that you sent. I re-listened to it this morning, and I was very shocked to learn that the Canadian standards for acceptable limits in a body are a lot higher than the U.S. The U.S. is our parts per trillion, where we're parts per million. I believe.
Well, I think it was like 70 or 90 parts per trillion in the U.S., and we're at 1,000 parts per trillion. So we're up, 100-fold higher, okay. which is not good. And some people that have lived close to former manufacturing plants, or in decontaminated military sites, they've got levels in their bodies hundreds, if not thousands, of times higher than what is considered an acceptable limit. So again, you don't know because it's ubiquitous in everything, and it's not tested for the same way that asbestos is in walls when you're tearing down a house or renovating or whatever. It just hasn't reached that level of scrutiny yet. So do some research and make sure that you're good with the products that you're using.
Yeah, there's definitely a big movement in the States and starting in Canada. And you mentioned that it's not just the firefighting foam; it's in the firefighting gear that we wear. And we have a lot of friends. The Fire Ring Network is worldwide, and we're lucky to have a lot of the leading experts that we're friends with, and we engage back and forth. So we're happy to answer any questions and kind of be a leader here in this area, if not a leader in Canada. And we want to thank our network as well for the people that share these articles with us and take the time to educate us. I know, like, I'm just a volunteer firefighter, and I'm learning all about this for the last 10 years. And you're a PhD chemist, so you understand it a lot better than I do. But, it is scary, but there's a good drive out there to do better. And we ask.
And to Quincy's point about our network, we have engaged with some of the leading researchers in the United States. In particular, Graham Peasley has tested our product with the best equipment in the world for doing these types of analyses, and we are PFAS free. So, which is something we're very proud of. But we can't say that about some of the competitors. Unfortunately.
No. Unfortunately, the dirty little secret in the firefighting world is PFAS or fluorine-free doesn't mean that it's entirely fluorine-free. It just means it's an acceptable limit that the industry has agreed to. So that's one thing about Fire Rain. Again, certified, the EcoGel certified 100% bio-based. There's no fluorinated products in our EcoGel.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't think I've got anything more that jumps out at me as far as this topic. Hopefully there'll be some new regulations as far as what is acceptable in cosmetics, which deliberately touch our skin and thus can be absorbed pretty quickly. So that's kind of scary.
It is really scary, David. David, I really want to thank you for your time today, and I think we're going to do this probably again. I think it didn't hurt as bad as we thought it would for our first live
Exactly.
stream, and
Yeah.
I think maybe we could ask our viewers to ask some questions, and maybe we could address them through a live stream again. And I just want to thank everybody that has tuned in, our supporters who have always followed us. We've got a bunch of environmental fire rain nation warriors that are out there, sharing our message, and we thank you a lot for that. And I think after all that, I think we're going to sign off and say good day.
And until next time, yes.
Be safe,
All right.
everyone. Thank
Take
you.
care.